I don't know. We'll probably find out all these things after Gary passes away.
You think there's some skeletons in the closet?
Oh my God.
Gary?
Did Matt Le Tissier just imply that Gary Lineker might be a Jimmy Savile? Yeah, Matt Le Tissier has fully lost his mind. Or is that just what he wants you to believe? No, seriously, the guy has lost it. He has genuinely gone mad. Now, if you don't know Matt Le Tissier, he was an incredible footballer at Southampton in the Premier League in the 90s. And in the 2000s, he was a massive pundit on Sky's show Gillette Soccer Saturday. However, in 2020, Matt was fired by Sky for beginning to question the media and other things he would later describe as woke nonsense. But Matt's not even the first footballer to fall down the conspiracy theory rabbit hole. David Icke, a world-renowned conspiracy theorist, actually played for Coventry. So maybe there's a trend in football here. Or they just headed the ball a bit too much. Either way, Matt went on a podcast recently, and he wasn't just solely attacking the woke virus and other actual viruses, he was attacking football pundits as well.
What's your beef with Jamie Carragher?
What's my beef with him?
You don't like him, do you?
I didn't dislike him, but he took exception to me talking about him spitting at the young girl out of his car window.
We can't deny that. We've all seen that video from Jamie Carragher, so Matt is all in the clear here. These are all facts.
He went, Tess, it's Cara. I went, oh, all right. You all right, mate? No, I'm not. And for the next 10 minutes, he literally was screaming and abusing me down the phone, telling me that how out of order I was, that I should bring up the fact that he spat at this young girl out the back of his car. You know, when he was threatening me stuff like, I'm going to be trolling you on social media, you know, anything you tweet, I'm going to be all over it.
You know what's mental? I can actually back Le Tissier up with this. Like, I put a tweet a while ago making a conspiracy joke to do with Le Tissier, and Cara liked the tweet. So he quite clearly was making an effort for people, his audience, to be seeing a joke to do with Matt Le Tissier. So he probably was going after him a little bit on social media. So what Matt Le Tissier is saying so far all checks out. Video check, and I've given him some evidence. So there's nothing conspiracy based here. This is facts. We're going to have to hear him out.
So yeah, after that phone call, I was like, yeah, you're not a very nice bloke, mate. Take responsibility for your own actions. You were the one that actually spat at the young girl out your car. That's not on me. You need to take responsibility for that. You need to own it. Someone talks about it. That's tough, mate, because you did it.
Can't lie, Le Tissier's actually cooking. He's got evidence. He's got everything. And literally, anyone would agree with him that it's Cara's to take responsibility for. That's not Le Tissier's video. So at the moment, he's cooking. Let's see what else he's cooking up and how much evidence he's got to back it up.
I mean, I don't agree with a lot of Gary Lineker's opinions.
I was going to... But it was a good moment, wasn't it?
But to be honest, I actually feel like his personal Twitter feed he should be allowed to voice his own personal opinions, and he shouldn't have to toe the line of his employer.
Again, I don't think anyone would disagree here with Matt Le Tissier. At the moment, he's cooking.
Why is Gary Lineker really leaving the BBC, do you think?
Oh, I have no idea. I mean, I'm sure it's just for the fact that he's got enough money now and he wants to sail off into the sunset, spend it all and enjoy the rest of his life. I don't know. We'll probably find out all these things after Gary passes away.
Matt, you were doing so well. And then he goes and compares Gary Lineker to Jimmy Savile. That is basically what he's done. You tell me he hasn't just done that. Think about it. BBC presenter, skeletons in his closet that will come out after he passes away. Who else comes to mind there other than Jim will fix it? The biggest scandal maybe in history in England. And if Matt is coming out with stuff like that, surely he's got something to back it up.
You think there's some skeletons in the closet?
Oh my God.
What skeletons are in the closet?
I mean, who knows? You know. But I can tell you that Gary Lineker is not the angel that he likes to portray himself to be.
What's he been up to?
Ask Joey Barton.
Right, we'll just ask whiter than snow Joey Barton. We'll just ask the trusty guy that puts cigars out in youth players' eyes whether Gary Lineker is a bad bloke or not. That sounds like a really good person to listen to there, Matt. What an excellent choice of source. Let's all go listen to Joey, guys. Joey knows it.
I would look at Joey Barton's feed where he has a go at Gary Lineker and challenges Gary to come back and have a go at him, and Gary won't have a go at him because Gary knows he's not as pure as driven snow.
Or Gary Lineker just thinks, I can't be fucked. Go away, Joey. Like most people do when they see Joey Barton show up on their timeline. I can't be arsed with your nonsense today, mate. But this isn't even just the tip of the iceberg of this interview. Matt had some incredibly interesting takes on the world today, and his problems don't just lie in football. They lie in just about everything else.
Let me ask you this, Matt. Rainbow armbands, what do you think about them on the football pitch?
I think it's a nonsense.
Why?
Because I think football should be free from any of those kind of campaigns. I didn't agree with the, taking the knee stuff. There's no need for it. Keep it out of sport. If you want to campaign for that stuff, do it on your own time, but don't infiltrate sports to be able to do it. Just leave it alone. Let people enjoy their sport without being battered with propaganda.
Battered with propaganda? It's a fucking armband. Is it really that big a deal? It's a little rainbow armband that helps normalise something. And the reason they use sport is because there's so many eyes on it. So yeah, there are kids looking, because at least it normalises to the point that those people won't be bullied in the future. They're not putting the mascots out and making them bum. They're not doing bumming mascots in the middle of the pitch, are they? It's a fucking armband. Get over it. And no one, also, is watching football every week and they go, oh, do you know what? I would really enjoy this game, but he's wearing that armband and I can't enjoy the sport. Who's doing that? No one's doing that. You don't even notice normal armbands. You just gotta go, oh yeah, that's the captain. Is that it? Are you seriously saying it takes away from the sport? All it does is help normalise something for a marginalised section of society. That's all it is. It's quite literally just normalising something so people maybe don't get bullied as much or feel a bit more comfortable in their own skin. It's not there to make you bum anyone, Matt. You don't have to worry. They're not gonna make you bum anyone. Look, I just don't see how a kid is gonna see an armband and be like, oh, I'm suddenly gay. That's not happening. But I wonder what else Matt could be concerned about in society in terms of influencing kids.
Why does everyone seem to be so triggerable and sensitive?
I think personally, it's because they've been indoctrinated in the schools. All the nonsense about the 150 genders that you can possibly be, allowing kids to go into schools pretending to be animals and identifying as a cat.
A cat? I don't know why. This has triggered a memory in me. Did anyone else have like a kid at school that would bark? I'm not taking the piss, like genuinely. I don't even think this is like some new thing. I remember kids that would pretend to be animals at school when I was a kid. Not that I didn't think it was a bit odd, because people going around as cats would be a bit odd, but I don't think that's being taught at schools, though. I don't think that's a new thing. I think kids are just a bit weird. Kids just muck around, don't they?
These people have mental illnesses, and they should be treated as such. They shouldn't be pandered to.
Pandered to. Nice one, Matt. Kids identifying as pandas. That's what you meant, right? Anyway, mental illness of kids turning into cats. Is that happening? What are we doing here? Like, is this not just kids pissing around? And Matt's going nuts about it. Some kid who's just pretending to be a cat up a tree. I don't know. Like, kids, mate, growing up as a kid, you do weird shit. Is this anything more than that?
Somebody should actually be trying to help them, not pander them.
And is this what is called wokeness?
These fucking woke cats. We need to stop them.
I think our education system has been hijacked
by,
I would say, probably left-leaning activists. I think they're being taught stuff at an age that they shouldn't be taught stuff. I think we're not allowing kids to be kids anymore.
You are the one doing that. Kids pissing around as cats is nothing more than kids pissing around as cats. I wouldn't worry too much, mate.
What would you stop and what would you start teaching?
What would I stop? I'd stop the gender ideology nonsense and stop them allowing them to be identifying as a cat and going into school.
What is this thing Matt's got with kid cats? Like, genuinely, he's not talking about all the other genders, etc. He's literally just consistently referring to this kid who's a cat.
Now, one of the things that I look back on and go, blimey, why did nobody ever explain to me when I was at school about the importance of money and budgeting and how much interest you're going to pay on stuff when you get a mortgage?
Now, I've actually heard that argument quite a few times because it seems to make sense, right? Until you realise no one would fucking listen. No one would go. Like, let's be real for a second, right? When you were at school, if you were to go to tax class, do you think you'd be excited to learn about it? Like, the idea of school is also to have a bit of interest. I know it all feels a bit boring at times and some of the subjects are crap, but like realistically, right, tax class, do you know how boring that would be and how many people would listen to a word of it? No one would. Let's be honest, no one would. So that as an argument, it doesn't cut it. These guys now spend a bit of time waffling about business tax, and no one can be asked to hear about that. But we heard Matt there earlier talking about the left and how there's a political leaning influencing culture. So let's hear his thoughts in terms of maybe the government's influence, maybe something on a bit of COVID.
The overwhelming feeling over the last few years that we are in a battle of good against evil.
And who is the evil?
A lot of people in government.
And what's the motive of the evil?
To control humanity.
And
To
why?
reduce the population of the planet.
Look, I think most people think politicians are controlling knobheads. I don't think that's up for debate. What is up for debate is the idea that the government are trying to reduce the population. I mean, what else does that imply other than they're trying to get rid of people? They're trying to kill people. That is what Matt's saying. Like, reducing the population. How else do you do that? They don't just disappear, do they? Matt's got to give some evidence to this one. How are they trying to reduce the population then?
But why would a psychopath want to end humanity? They are a human. Or is that what makes them a psychopath?
Not the entire human race, but a large proportion of it. You know, the Georgia Guidestones told you how what sort of population they feel is appropriate for the planet.
What do they think?
I think it was 500 million.
Right then, we're all fucked, guys. 7.5 billion of us. I mean, 500 million of you. I don't even know what you're going to do at that point, because everyone almost is going to be dead anyway. That is insane. How are the government going to do this then, Matt? What are they doing to try and kill 7.5 billion of us?
How are they going to get rid of us?
Let's think. Maybe they might try injecting the entire population with a nefarious fluid that, you know, they'll dress up as being really good for you, stop you from getting ill.
Yep, it's the vaccine, guys. The vaccine is going to wipe us all out. It genuinely will. And you know what's so frustrating with this? I understand being sceptical about the vaccine in terms of taking it, because it was a brand new virus. I completely get that. If someone was like, I ain't putting that in my body, I don't know how researched it is, I don't know about the long-term effects. I get that. The long-term effects are not designed to kill you. This is not Walter White putting rice and cigarettes in everyone's vaccine. It's not happening. This is all just so baseless. It's just, well, it might happen. Well, yeah, it might happen. What about if I went, oh yeah, you know eggs? If people with eggs, we're fucked. There's poison in the eggs. They're going to kill us. It's a good film plot. That's about it.
I mean, as a plan, you know, hypothetically, as a plan, it's a pretty good one.
Yeah, hypothetically speaking, it would be a great plan. But, Matt, you're implying it is the plan. You're saying they want to cull the numbers. They want to cut down the numbers of people. They want to get down to 500 million. So you're literally saying that's what they've done. And you're implying that based off nothing. But anyway, in terms of government, Keir Starmer's in charge in England at the moment. So what does Matt make of Keir Starmer? What does he think about the guy?
I don't fear people like Keir Starmer. I don't fear him. When he comes on the telly, I pity him and I laugh at him. I find him a despicable human being, but I would never be afraid of him.
I don't know who's going around fearing Keir Starmer, because the way that Matt says that is as if it's uncommon to not fear him. I don't think anyone's scared of Keir Starmer, mate. I think it's just like, it's the Prime Minister. Was anyone scared of David Cameron and Boris Johnson? Churchill's probably the only one anyone could think of where they're like, fuck, he'd absolutely twat me in a fight. But Matt didn't hold back on his words there. So what is it that made him exactly despise Keir Starmer?
Keir Starmer appoints Peter Mandelson as our envoy, ambassador with the US. Now, seriously, I mean, of all the people that you would choose to do that job, why would you choose someone who had a pretty close relationship with Jeffrey Epstein?
Now, that's a completely valid point, because anyone linked to Jeffrey Epstein is not someone we should be trusting. It's not someone who should be in a position of power, right?
Knowing what everybody knows about Jeffrey Epstein, why on earth would you choose that person out of all the choices you could have made? All the people with reputations that might be a lot better than Peter Mandelson's. Why would you do that? And yet he still does it.
I couldn't agree more, Matt.
Our own government are trolling its people and going, do you know what? They don't really care about you lot. In fact, this is how little I care. Look who I'm going to appoint as our ambassador to the United States. I'd be really funny if Donald Trump turned around and went, no, not accepting him.
But once again, Matt ruins his point being baseless, because I don't think Donald Trump's turning him down anytime soon. The same Donald Trump pictured multiple times with Jeffrey Epstein over the years. I don't think he'll be turning him away.
Well, I wouldn't put it past him.
So when the Epstein flight logs come out and Peter Mandelson's all over it, it's going to be interesting, isn't it?
It will be interesting, as you'll literally see Donald Trump on them, because the pilot of Jeffrey Epstein has already testified that he was on the flight logs. So yeah, if you're going to go in these deep waters, it can't be baseless. But the ideas that Matt's talking about in terms of fear instilled by government and flaunting it on people, trolling the British public is what he's saying basically, kind of implies that they are all-seeing, all-knowing, they are omnipotent. So how do we counteract them? How are we going to fight against this, Matt? What are we going to do?
You've got to be willing to stick your neck on the line for it a little bit, you know? When I was speaking out back in 2020, I kind of knew I was dicing with kind of losing my job.
Right. But you did it anyway.
But I felt like it was too important for me not to do it, and I was always fairly confident that I could get all the work.
Yeah, great idea, Matt. Everyone can afford to just get sacked. Everyone's just going to join you in the boat of, let's get fired, I want to tweet about the government. I mean, realistically, why would they want to put food on the table for their kids or have a decent life living? Why not just get sacked? You can go against the Matrix, fight the Matrix and get sacked. Why would anyone not want to do that instead? But with Matt's calls for rebellion in the streets, what does Matt actually make of the streets? What does he think's going on within the UK?
We're almost being force-fed a life where everything can get delivered to your house and you don't have to go out and meet other people. And I don't know if that's been done by design.
Because we're more complicit.
More complicit, yeah. You sever the human connection. You make people, you isolate people. Much easier to control.
Mate, Uber Eats is not destroying us and making us controlled. People just can't be asked to go outside to order their McDonald's when they're hungover. Is that too much to ask? Is that big of an issue? We're severing all our human connection because we can't be fucked. We're too lazy to get out of bed and order the McDonald's. That's literally it. I don't think there's a massive amount of human connection we're losing from someone passing the straw across the counter for their McFlurry. I don't think that's a big deal, alright? I don't think you need to be looking into that in terms of control. I don't think ordering shit from Amazon because you can't be asked to go to the shops is a factor of control. It's not people severing human connection. They genuinely just can't be asked. I think most people are like, that's easier, it's more convenient, it makes it easier. Just like winding up a window was more long than pressing the button. We have those things for convenience. That's just evolution of technology. Look, it was clear to see in his footballing career that Matt Le Tissier had an incredible imagination, but it also seems to apply here. It seems to have very much carried through into his career as a conspiracy theorist, but he did have a really nice quote. He had a poignant quote that I think we should all hear in terms of the imagination.
Some wise man once said to me, if your mind can imagine it, then there's a high degree of possibility that it can be there. So whatever your mind can imagine, there is a possibility that can come true.
Yeah, no shit, mate. If I imagine something, it might or might not happen. That's fantastic, Matt. Thank you. Can I get that hung up in my house? Should we get that there? Should we add something to the background, guys? Should I get, it might happen, it might not. I don't know. What a theory. What an amazing theory to base everything on and question everything on. But in all honesty, guys, we all want to get to the weirdest bit of Matt Le Tissier, don't we? We know he's talking about some of these as theories. Get to the aliens. Put the aliens in the bag. Let's hear about the really roguish stuff.
Do you think there are aliens?
Probably. I think there's a high degree of possibility. I don't know for certain. But if you were pushing me, I'd say it's probably more likely than not than there is.
I actually think most people would agree with that. Obviously, the universe is very vast, so the chances of us being the only things is pretty slim. So most people would obviously say there might be aliens. Who knows? They wouldn't be doubting them, put it that way.
I've come to realise now that, a lot of the stuff, the technology that we're talking about, where I'm saying, they've had this technology for decades, they put a lot of this stuff into films. And you go 30 years down the line, they go, well, everything that they did in that film 30 years ago, we're doing now. It's so they've done films about aliens.
So Matt thinks aliens are real because of Alien, because of the film Alien, because Ridley Scott decided to make a wicked film about aliens. Okay, right. Did George Romero predict zombies? Are we going to get zombies in a minute then, Matt? What about Back to the Future? That he's probably referencing there in terms of sci-fi. What? Have we figured out time travel? Is that what's happening? 30, 40 years later, we're like, oh yeah, I didn't think that was going to happen, but time travel is really a thing now. Aliens could be a thing because the universe is so vast. Aliens are not a thing because Ridley Scott made Alien. Anyway, guys, I'm sure Matt has some really rational takes when it comes to other theories to do with film.
What one thing in the world do you think is really wrong that you'd like to see changed?
If you had to lay me down to one, child sex trafficking.
Yeah, completely fair. Very evil thing going on in the world.
I think there's some very demonic, satanic people on this planet who get kicks out of that kind of stuff. I think a lot of the stuff around that, I don't know if this is probably appropriate, but
whoa! If Matt Le Tissier is saying this might not be appropriate, he's about to say something fucking mental.
The adrenochrome stuff.
Can you explain that?
So adrenochrome is something that children produce when they're incredibly scared. And apparently people think that this is a way to keep you young by ingesting this stuff.
That is as demonic as it comes. But Matt, I'm going to be honest, that sounds so mental. We're going to need some evidence here.
It's interesting because I think it was what was the film with all the Monsters Inc.
It's fucking Monsters Inc.
I don't know if you remember, they part of that Monsters Inc. film was they collect the screams from the kids when they're scared. And adrenochrome, I think, is mentioned in that film. And again, you go back like all these years and you go, is this like, are they telling us what they're doing?
He's genuinely used Monsters Inc. as the evidence for that, guys. He has genuinely used Monsters Inc., the Disney Pixar film, as the reason why people are using child screams and fear to make themselves younger. His reasoning for that is Monsters fucking Inc. What are we doing here? Matt Le Tissier has just lost the plot. What? Is Gary Lineker Randall now? Is that Gary Lineker's skeletons in his closet? That he's actually fucking Randall from Monsters Inc. trying to get Boo's fear to, I don't know, de-age Alan Shearer? Is that what we're saying? What the fuck is this? Alan Shearer wants some hair back, so Gary Lineker's abducting... What is this? Randall the sex trafficker? Like, fucking hell, man. Monsters Inc. Monsters Inc. That, oh my god, that is insane. Do you know what my biggest fear is, guys? Toys. Toys that come alive when we're not looking at them, because they might be developing vaccines to wipe out 7.5 billion people, but we wouldn't know, because when we look at the toys, they stop moving. You know, I think it happened in, did you ever see, what was that film? What was that film called? Toy Story. Did you ever see Toy Story? Yeah, well, you know, that happened then, didn't it? That's why I'm scared of toys. That could be happening. Because of Toy Story. Because of fucking Toy Story. That is one of the most insane things I've ever heard. And yeah, sorry, Matt Le Tissier, wicked footballer. Did enjoy him on Soccer Saturday, but he has lost his fucking marbles. He has lost his marbles. This is insane. This is actually ridiculous. I'm seeing a grown man talk about child sex trafficking and then basing it on Monsters Inc. What are we doing here, God? What are we doing here? Genuinely, what are we doing here? That podcast genuinely felt like walking into the world's worst afters. That was ridiculously chaotic. Anyway, guys, I hope you did enjoy that video. And if you did, make sure you hit like and subscribe because it helps me out a lot. And if you don't, then you're...
top of the woke league.